Hey guys, in this episode we're going to discuss the film Greta. We're going to break down the movie and give you our thoughts along the way. This is episode 125 of the Reel-ists podcast. Listeners, welcome. I'm Donnie.
And I'm Oscar.
And we have our producer Ruben here. Hello. As always, Ruben says hello. And we would like to thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast. Before we get into this episode, I want to quickly remind everyone that we are on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Team Reel-ists, Team REELISTS, no dash, what? And also we're on YouTube and we're also on iTunes. And if you can guys do us a favor and go on iTunes and rate us and leave us comments just to give us some feedback on our podcast, it would be greatly appreciated, so we can always be trying to work on this podcast and deliver content and deliver episodes that you guys want. It would just help us so much. So please, 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 if you have the time, do it. And I think that's pretty much it. So to jump right into this episode, Oscar and I are going to be reviewing Greta, which we saw not too long ago. As always, we can have Oscar tell us what he initially thought of the movie Greta. Take it away, Oscar.
All right. So this movie, and maybe it did what it wanted to do and just make you talk about it, but there was just a lot of things that you just wanted to like go on screen and go in the movie, go into this like moment and really like be like judging like these decisions that are going to be made, mainly by our main character, the Greta, the what do you, I mean, she's like stalker, but and like whatever you describe her, the friend that goes wrong, or I don't know, whatever you want to call her. She was the older lady. I'll just say that, the older lady. She was very interesting. So, I mean, like, it wasn't even, like, a movie in the sense that you don't understand her. All you have to get is that she's crazy. It's just our main character is that you're just like...
Our problem ain't with Greta. Our problem, right. The problem's with them.
I mean, because her friend, even her friend was, like, on the level that you're just like, let's roll with what she's saying. I mean, she did say one mistake that I think that was a bad, just, like, idea. Mm-hmm. But everything else, she was on par. But the story just, I mean, it was just more of watching something play out, and you can't do anything about it, and you just have to watch it and let it go with what they do. But you can't just help but be like, but if you would have done this, you wouldn't have to do this. If you would have just done this, you wouldn't have to do this. Mm-hmm. So there's just a lot of things, and we'll probably break it down a little bit more in detail so I can examine why I'm saying this. But yeah, that's just my quick thoughts of just... There's a lot we want to talk about, so I won't say it all here.
Okay. So the movie's called Greta. Let me read you the synopsis. Frances finds a handbag on the New York subway and promptly returns it to Greta, an eccentric French piano teacher who loves tea and classical music. Having recently lost her mother, young Frances strikes up a seemingly harmless friendship with the lonely and kindly widow who enjoys her company. But when Greta's behavior becomes increasingly erratic and obsessive, Frances does whatever it takes to end the toxic relationship before things spiral out of control. So this movie is starring Chloe Grace Moretz as Frances, Isabelle Huppert as Greta, and Maika Monroe as Erica, her best friend. Those are like the three main people of the film.
Yes.
So my initial thoughts of this movie, I thought I feel like if you're looking at the template, we've gotten it before with other movies where you have like, you befriend someone or you start something with someone, a relationship of some sort, and, for whatever reason, the protagonist wants to break off the relationship or end the relationship, and then the person becomes obsessive about them. And so, we've seen that before in a romantic kind of way. We got it with like Swim Fan, in a like friendship kind of way. I mean, I've seen it in like episodes of shows, like an episode of Charmed comes to mind. But you've got that, or that movie Obsessed, like where she became obsessed with Idris Elba.
Yeah.
So we've seen these kind of situations play out, but this was a little different because it's like, an old woman and a what am I trying to say? A young girl.
Yeah. It looks like she's. I mean, her age is probably in the mid-20s. It sounds like she didn't look like she was going to college or going to school.
Yeah, I think she's supposed to like have been graduated from college, like, and she's in this weird transition point. So, I guess we can just recap the film.
That's probably going to be best. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie,
it's a spoiler discussion. So
we do your favorite.
It is a spoiler discussion. So if you don't want to be spoiled, then just pause the episode, go watch the movie, and then come back and listen to our episode. So Frances, she graduated, college. She's right now currently living with her best friend Erica, who has this big, fancy, beautiful loft in New York City that her daddy gave to her. Which we're like, okay, right then and there, I'm just like, I'm rolling my eyes at, but whatever. So she's there. She finds this handbag on the subway. She looks inside, takes a look at the ID, finds it's Greta's ID card. So she, tracks down the house, and she's from Boston. She's just a nice little young girl, not a little young girl, sorry. She's a nice young woman trying to do the right thing. So she goes and delivers the bag to Greta. So then Greta's like, oh, bless you. Come inside, have some tea, yada, yada, right?
First mistake.
Yeah, so Oscar, while I'm recapping, you're going to just throw out all the mistakes that were made by Frances, okay? So, first mistake, she goes inside.
Right.
She should have just been like, oh, no, it's okay. I got to go to work.
Right.
Or, but I just want to drop this off. But no, she's like, okay, let me go inside.
I get, you want to let that person feel like they're giving back. They're giving their thanks. But not into the home because you don't know who they are.
I have no idea who she is.
Nope.
But she's nice.
If she would have said, if Greta would have said, let's go to this cafe and I'll buy you something, then I'd be like, okay, talk. Then you can consider. Continue.
If Greta would have said, you know what, let me give you like a 20 for bringing my bag, I'd have been like, cool, I'll wait right here.
Right.
But anyways, okay.
For coffee.
Right. So she goes inside, she makes her tea, they chit chat, blah, blah, blah. And they're talking, whatever, Greta's being her, her charming self and disclosing all this information about how she's a widow and her husband died and her daughter moved to Paris. So she's so lonely now and she just wants a friend and, kind of taking advantage of the kindness of Frances, who's like, oh, well, if you're lonely, you ever thought about getting a dog? I'll help you pick it out. Like, she just immediately like offered
Second
that.
Mistake.
Yeah, she's just like offering services now. Like,
right.
Oh, I'll help you pick a dog out.
Second mistake. This is a one-time visit.
Right.
You don't need to visit this person ever again.
Truth.
You just returned the purse.
Tell them.
You didn't meet her at school. You didn't see her, doing something else. You don't know this woman. Continue.
So, but Greta's appears to be lonely, and Frances's mom had died about a year ago in the movie, I think. So she was kind of still dealing with that, and she has this estranged relationship with her father because her father remarried really quickly. So Frances is just kind of longing for like a mother, I think her mom, but longing for this kind of, motherly role in her life because she's now without. So anyways, she leaves, whatever. Greta calls her up. I don't know, she called her or texted her or something. And she called her and was like, hey, can I basically take you up on that offer? Can you help me pick out a dog?
Call. Yeah, it was a
So then they go to the pound. They pick out a dog together. Oh, he's so cute. He's the one, blah, blah, blah. And then, they're building this friendship and it seems like they're connecting. And you know what, to be honest, I will say, Greta, she did come off very motherly and kind, and she made me feel really comfortable in the beginning, I will say. Like, I mean, she wasn't, at this point, she wasn't overstepping her boundary, but she was expressing, like this kind of maternal, love and affection.
Right. She was playing the game.
She was playing the game. And Frances was, a little naive Frances. She was taking it in. So, they're hanging out a little more. She goes over to her house. They're cooking together. They're like feeding each other, which is kind of weird. Because I'm like, y'all really don't know each other like that. But they're cooking a beautiful meal and they're going to have a candlelit dinner. They enjoy each other's company. So then Frances, she's looking for candles so she can, light the dinner table. And she finds a bunch of bags similar to the one that she found on the subway station. There's like probably 10 of them. And she looks in, they all have like ID cards. And it's like, so she catches on that, oh snap, this woman is like playing a game. Like something. That's where she realizes that something's not right.
Would you see this in the trailer? But
yeah,
yes.
You got that. Sorry, I'll try not to be too detailed with my recap because they've gotten a lot of this already. So then she tries. She she's like, oh, I'm not feeling good. I gotta go. And Greta knows something's up. She's like, you seem upset, but she's like, I gotta go. So she leaves. She gets out of there. She goes tells her friend Erica, and Erica's like, that's weird. Like that's like that. You need to just stay away from her. Just dead that. Like don't even engage. Whatever. So then this is when the flip switches and Greta starts texting her and calling her and calling the house phone and leaving multiple voicemails and text messages. So Frances is like, this is like, I don't know what to do. Just, whatever. So then she shows up at her job. Greta shows up at her job. She's a waitress. Frances is a waitress at a nice fancy restaurant. So then she shows up at her job and she's like, I don't want to see you again. Like, stop it. Leave me alone. It's done. Like, you lied, and you weren't truthful. So that's it.
She's doing her part. Okay.
So then she still continues to call her and continues to text and all this. And then what happens?
So the breakdown happens at the restaurant again. So this is essentially where the third mistake comes in. Because if you are seeing that your boss and your work environment is not even putting in consideration that someone is stalking you, you need to leave that job.
They couldn't care less. Like,
right.
The supervisor and they were like, whatever. They were like, get rid of her. Don't make a scene. And she's like, I don't want to see her.
Right. And I would be like, I quit. I am out.
And let's just throw out that she did call the police when she showed up at her job again, because she was just standing across the street staring like a freaking psycho. She looked
for a long time.
For like hours, like from sunset to, like it was midday and then to nighttime. She was still standing out there across the street staring. So she's trying to, like call the police, and the police are like, well, she has the right to stand there. Like, we can't do anything about that. Which I'm like, hell no. Like, I would have made such a big more like fuss about that. I would have been like, are you kidding me? Like, I would have told them, because she didn't even mention that. Like, she's been calling me, she's been texting me. Like, that's harassment. She didn't, like, I feel like that was a mistake right there. Because she should have put that in the report fourth mistake. There. Right. So that's her fourth mistake. Whatever. So whatever. She's whatever. This is irritating me, so I'm losing my words. Sorry. So then, after multiple calls and multiple texts, and she shows up. Well, before that, she shows up to the apartment, right?
Oh yes.
She shows up to her apartment, and she's like standing in the hallway, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "I just want to apologize." And she's telling her, "No, like no, I'm not doing that." And this is where it gets really eerie, because in the beginning, Frances said something along the lines of, I'm like chewing gum. I tend to stick around. That's what my friends say about me. She said that to Greta.
Yes,
so Greta came to her apartment. She's chewing bubble gum, and she says like something like,
you thought you were chewing gum.
Yeah, and then she spits the gum in her hair. So that's like, that's another mistake number 5. That's assault. Right? So she spit gum in your hair. That's assault. So I would have been called the police again. I would have been like, police. Remember this woman y'all told me not to worry about? She's bit gum in my hair. I want her arrested.
They make note, don't they? I don't know any police officers, but don't they make some kind of note of this person has called about this woman already before? Like, isn't there some kind of notation?
There should be, yeah. So whatever. She's like, whatever, okay. So she's just really afraid, and she doesn't know what's going on. So then she shows up again at her job, and this time she's like a patron. She's like, I came to be served.
But yeah.
Yes, a customer. She's, and Frances has to kind of wait on her, and she doesn't want to. And then she just goes ballistic, and she's like dropping glass. First she's like spills a glass, and she's like, you're going to talk to me. You're going to blah, blah, blah. And then she like flips the table over, and she's like, something like, what did she even say? Something very just psycho.
Right.
Like, you need me and I need you, or something along those lines. So then finally the police want to come and arrest her, and it looked like they were taking her to like a psychiatric hospital, because they had her like on a bed and like in handcuffed. So then we're like, whoo, okay, she's arrested. But then she's not. She got released because Frances called the prison. So she got released. So now this is like getting scary. Like she's out and about. Now I have no idea like what's gonna happen. So then Erica goes to this bar. Her best friend's at a bar, and she's like, Francis, come on, like you flaked on me. Let's go out. And she's like, no, I'll just stay home. So then Greta, this is when it starts getting really crazy. Listen, guys, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but Greta starts taking pictures of Erica and is like basically sending them to Francis, saying like, I'm right behind your best friend. Like I have her in my sight, and like starts like following her. So then it's like she follows her like for blocks and blocks and gets on the bus with her, and you know, this is where it gets a little traumatic because she's like, she's right behind you. Oh my God, she's right behind you. And then she's like, I don't see her. Where is she? It was like
this. First of all,
you got to get off the bus right now.
I'm gonna give Greta points for being like sneaky and like being able to take a photo and then like hide. Because from what I can tell, if you want to take a photo and send it, you better like hide as soon as you send it, because she might turn around pretty fast. But.
And she was quick. She was like, I mean, Erica was like walking down the street and jumped on a bus and jumped in a cab, and she was like right behind her the whole time. So then that was just freaky and weird. And then I think we can just pretty much jump to. So
I mean, essentially, yeah. Frances makes the decision she's gonna leave.
Yeah, she said she's. Oh, this is man, you talk about a dumb decision. So she basically she's gonna leave. She was gonna go like with her dad somewhere, I think, right?
Yeah.
So she said. So she decides to reach out to Greta to tell her.
And this is the one mistake by Erica, because she gives her this like, just go lie to her, go tell her you're gonna think about it.
You're gonna think about it, and you'll be back when you come back in a few days, things will be better. So she meets Greta at like this church or something, and apologizes to her and says, you know, I'm gonna go away for a couple of days, but I'll be back, and you know, we can talk about it some more then. But Greta's like, you wouldn't be lying to me, would you? And she's like, no, of course not. And she's like she's acting like she's, you know, she's fine now and things are good between them. But Greta, I guess, knew she was lying. So Greta freaking
got
into her apartment, drugged her, kidnapped her in broad daylight, walked her into a cab and was like, oh, this is my niece, she's ill, can you help me? Like got the cab driver to like help her into this cab.
First of all, let's just pause here for a second. The cab driver is going to hear she's not feeling well. I'm like, we're taking her to the hospital. Why would I go drive you to your home? I don't know. I'm like, what? I would have
That's sketchy.
Right. I would have had. I don't know, as a cab driver.
I don't. Yeah. I would have allowed to ask questions. What's the proper protocol here? Like, because this girl is incoherent. Like, she can't speak for herself. So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I would have maybe called my supervisor. I'd have been like, I'll be right back. And then called my boss and be like, hey, you know, this woman says it's her niece. I mean, it looks like it is, but I just want to run this by you to make sure you know, I'm doing the right thing.
But takes her to the place. Takes her home.
But anyways, takes her to her home. She's still drugged, and basically puts her in this room, this like hideaway room that she has hidden behind this piano, and like locks her in this box. That's like
a toy box.
That's like a toy box,
with
and it's
plushes like inside.
Mm-hmm. So now we know that Greta is deranged. Like she, you know, she's just crazy. So then, you know, Frances wakes up and she's locked in this box, and she's like, "Please let me out." And she lets her out, but she's basically like
captive.
Yeah. She's like held captive in this home, and everything's locked and everything.
And Greta has Frances's phone, so she's like texting and lying to the friend,
to the dad, saying that she went on vacation with her best friend, and then she sent a text to the best friend saying she went on vacation with her dad. So she's like, she's like full on like holding this girl hostage, and Frances is just this is where another mistake comes in. So as soon as she lets you out of the room, because she had been in the living room, like in the beginning of the film, like she knows the house. So when she lets you out of that room, Frances, I'm sure she was just shocked and scared because she got kidnapped and abducted.
I can understand that.
I can understand that. But I was like, the first thing I would have tried to do is like backhand her or tackle this woman or strike her or hit her or something. She didn't do anything initially. And she was making her do this weird piano exercise thing and smacking her hands, and it was really weird. But whatever, you know, she's held captive. We're not sure for how long.
We don't know.
Maybe
for a good amount of time.
Maybe a couple of days, I'd say. Probably like a week.
I would say a week. Yeah, a week to two the most. Yeah.
So finally, they're in there she's like making her roll cookie dough and whatever. So basically, she has the what's that called, the rolling pin, and she hits her with it and like chops Greta's finger off, and she's trying to run and escape that. Like she chops her finger off and then she hits her over the head. So Greta's down, and now Francis is trying to get out.
Mistake.
So this is another stupid mistake. See, this is sorry if we're just telling you all the mistakes, but this was the frustration as we were watching this movie. So we just want to be completely transparent here. So she tries to run for the front door. Obviously, the front door is locked. So then she tries to run to the back patio, and she's too far down. She can't get up. So you would think, okay, it's time to break a door down, or it's time to bust out the window, or it's time to do something. No, what does she do? What do you think she does, Ruben? Where do you think she runs? She can't get out the front door. She can't get out the back door. So in a stupid horror movie, where would somebody run?
Into a different room?
Practically.
Yeah, you're not wrong. She runs down to the basement.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like an idiot. So she runs down to the basement where she discovers the body of another girl who had been abducted, she finds out. And she's like, she was still alive at the time, but she like was in this body bag and suffocated, and she ended up dying. But
was it a fresh body and an old body?
It was like fresh.
It was like the most recent girl that had been abducted, but she was like she was black and blue and dying.
Yeah.
And so then Greta manages to come downstairs and abducts her again, or like takes her captive again, knocks her out, and then ties her up and
to the bed.
So now she's tied up in this room again to the bed, and this woman is sick. She's like stitching her own finger back, or she's like, I don't know what she did. She's like trying to
injects it to numb it. I'm assuming.
Yeah. She's like, she knows what she's doing. Anyways, let's just to wrap things up a bit. Some people find out that she's missing. The dad and the best friend are like, I thought she was with you. No, I thought she was with you. So then they call, try to go to this investigation guy who has a little information on Greta and where she came from. She's from Hungary and this and that. So she goes to Greta's house to try to see what he can find out. And then basically what ends up happening is she ends up killing him, because he can hear Francis making noise behind the wall, and he knows that someone's back there. So then Greta comes and just like quickly stabs him in the neck with
sedates him,
with the sedative. And then she kills him. So he's dead. So then we're like, damn, he was gonna be the one to free her, but she's trapped there. Like we're not gonna know what happens, and she's gonna continue to do this, right?
Yes.
So then we see the same scenario that we saw in the beginning play out. She leaves a bag on the subway station. We see all these young, naive looking girls. So a girl that we don't know, she picks up the bag. We're like, same scenario. She's on her way to Greta's house. She's going to deliver the bag. She's like, hi, I think I found your bag. And she's like, same thing. Oh, be precious. Come inside. Let me pour you some tea. Well, here we go. Little plot twist. I didn't see this coming. But what ended up happening was it was Francis's best friend, Erica, who was looking for that bag so she can know where to go, because she knows that her best friend is there. Because her friend's missing, and she knows this woman had took her. So, it's like a reveal. She had on a wig and she was talking. We never saw her face. We only just saw like this wig and this bad Texas accent. And then she ended up drugging Greta, like pouring stuff in her coffee, and she's like, maybe somebody drugged you. And then she rips off her wig, and we see it's her, and she's like, you don't know how much time I spent on those damn subways looking for this bag, and I know you took my friend, this and that. So she finds, and Francis, who's tied up in the other room, she can hear that it's her friend. So she's like, tied up in her mouth, she can't make noise, but she's like banging on the rock in the bed and trying to get her attention. So the friend finds her, and then Greta comes back up, and she's trying to
attack.
It's just like a fight at this point. Like they're just trying to fight. Like who's gonna kill who? Who's gonna, are they gonna get out alive? So they basically end up.
Well, Greta was still feeling the
she was still drugged, but it was just like one last final scare. Like, I'm not dead yet, but they knocked her out, whatever. So then the best friend Erica, she's like, it's okay. I found you. We are safe. It's okay. So this is another stupid thing they do. They're like, well, what do we do with her? What do we do? She said, what do we do?
Yeah.
she's like, what do we do now? And we're like, what do you mean, what do you do now? You call the police? Or you break open the door first before she comes back and tries to, like, kill both of y'all.
Call the police outside of the home.
Something. But she's like, what do we do now? So then they're like, I have a good idea. So then they throw her in that box, in that toy chest that she was locked in, that Frances was locked in. They throw her in it. And that was pretty much the end of the movie.
Yeah. And they try to tease it with, like, the lock.
She was like, Greta was trying to push it open, like the lid rattling, like, she's not dead. She's still.
They just put like a little Paris kind of toy in between the lock, inside the lock. So it was like tilting, like it's going to come out and, you know, the door is going to open for her to continue her evilest ways.
That was the end?
That was the end.
Yeah.
So what, like they're supposed to make you think...
Greta is not.
Like she's not.
Yeah.
Maybe.
To that degrees.
So that was Greta. So,
Well, so what you think about
now, there were, I mean, Oscar.
I will say, in some of the good parts of it, outside of like the Greta being crazy to the point where you're just like, get her away from me, even though I'm like in the theater watching this, so it's kind of like, get away from me. The thrill of it was there.
It was thrilling.
You are kind of
and suspenseful.
Yes, you're in this like, what are they gonna do next kind of moments a lot of times, and like when the sequence with the friend being chased, and you know you're thinking like, oh, this is where the friend's gonna die because you know she got to her, because you don't know, you just don't know exactly where this movie is gonna take you. So it does have a lot of those moments. It tried to be clever in some parts. In the beginning, you hear a banging when Frances first goes inside and is being being given coffee by Greta.
Yeah, we're just meeting her.
Yeah,
for the
you
first
hear
time.
her banging, and then Greta's just like, "Oh, it's aren't my neighbors," and she's trying to be like, "Shut up, like calm down, neighbors."
She's like, a little courtesy, please. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and-
Like she's like the neighbors are making too much noise. But what we find out by the end of the film was that was the girl that was dead that had died when she was in the basement. She was in the same boat that Frances was in. She was trying to get her attention.
Yeah.
So it came full circle, which that was like really cool.
So that was cool too as well. And then also there was a moment where you think this was a nightmare, that she was overthinking things, and that she was just like having just a bad dream. And you're just like, oh, okay, so they're gonna be fine. Like she's fine. Like, oh, we were forced to think that Greta actually got her. And so they're just like, happy ending, yay! But then it was like she woke up and she was in the toy box.
So that was we thought she was safe, but it was like that was her dream.
It was like one of those like if you thought the movie was playing with you, just like gotcha. You thought this was all going to go down.
Yeah.
And it was not. That was not the case. But yeah, so that happened. And then with the friend, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, there's going to be another innocent girl that's going to be held captive, and that's the end of the movie. But no,
that's what I was afraid of. I thought that her friend was going to get captured. Can't think of the word. I was going to say captivated. I thought her friend was going to get captured too. And then I thought it was going to be like, now they're in this boat together and no one's going to come for them now. But thank God it didn't end like that.
Yeah. So there was a lot of exciting thrills to it. If you're looking for that, you will get this from this movie. And just in terms of you trying to understand the decisions that were made is where a lot of people are going to probably be decisive and not necessarily agree with how the movie decided to play out.
I mean, it's just they to keep the plot moving. They had to do all these little. She had to make all the decisions she made. She had to make them for the sake of the plot and to get to where we got in the end. But it's like if you're looking at it from a real life standpoint. Something we used to do with our episodes, or consider certain scenes and aspects and how they tie into real life.
The good old days, season 1.
I know. It's like nobody would do that. I feel like a lot of her decisions were they weren't smart.
And one of them being, she never told her friend of the address. I'd have been like, as soon as she was crazy, I'm gonna be like, hey, just in case something happens, this is her address.
If I go missing,
let me show you where she was at. Come with me so I can show you where this crazy woman is at.
Yeah. Speaking of the friend, I do want to say that Erica is a real one. Like she is that is a best.
I thought she was gonna be like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I'm out. Like,
I didn't think. I mean, she's the reason why her friend was alive. She came looking, like she spent time looking for that purse, looking for that bag to find Greta's home to go rescue her friend.
That's what I'm looking.
That's a real one.
I'm looking at you, Donnie, right now. You better do that if I go missing. I want day and night searches.
I'm gonna do it.
But yeah, no, and it was funny because you made the comment for it when we were watching the movie, but when she was being chased by Greta and taking the photos, you're just like, It Follows like all over again. Yeah. I was like, oh, in this case, Erica's an expert. She knows how to feel. She
knows exactly what's going on. Did you see It Follows, Ruben? Oh no, you don't. Sorry, I keep forgetting. But yeah, it was a crazy film. But definitely entertaining, definitely fun, and definitely it wasn't boring. I mean, we were on. I was on the edge of my seat a lot. I got surprised. I got startled. I got irritated because of the decision making. I got I was getting all these emotions. It was a kind of an emotional ride.
Yes.
Not like a super happy like, oh my god, yes, but it was like, it elicited some reaction. That's what you want. You don't want your audience to just sit there and be like, looking at the time like, can we wrap things up?
Well, given
here?
the genre that you're doing, yes, you don't. Yeah.
But did you have any like standout scenes?
I would say there were a few, like the chase sequence with Erica being chased by Greta. Because I remember just that moment, I was just like, oh damn, Greta's gonna get the friend and kill her. I thought it was gonna be the end of the friend. I thought it was gonna be the cliche, the friend dies.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
And then also I would say the detective getting close to finding her and then dying was also another one, because they're just like, she's right there, she's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those kind of moments like that.
I'd probably say, I mean, those were all fun moments. That chase sequence with Erica, it just reminded me of that episode of SpongeBob when the maniac was on the loose, and Patrick and SpongeBob were talking on their phones, and they're like, he's right behind you or something, and it was him, but it just reminded me of that. I don't know why.
That's funny.
But my favorite scene obviously was probably the reveal that it was Erica who was the girl who was the girl that we wanted to be a model. She said she wanted to be a model. She had some good lies. She's like, I moved from Texas. I wanted to be a model. This and that. She had a good little cover up. Nice little wig, everything. But that was, I was like, oh my God, it's the friend. I got really excited. And then I felt safe because I'm like, okay, this is her best friend. Like, she's going to find her. Like, she's going to do whatever she has to do because this is like a sister to her. So that was probably my favorite part.
Nice.
What was your least favorite part? Because we have a lot of those for this film.
7 mistakes that we pointed out were my least favorite part.
Out of all the mistakes, what was the dumbest mistake, or the
going to her to try to put an end to it? Try to put a little bow with like, let me just give her a little nice ending that I'm gonna think about it, and it wasn't entirely her. Some of it was me. It was that I didn't have a mom with me, like all that.
Yeah, that was not smart. Mine's is gonna have to be her running into the basement. It's a basement. Like, if we've learned anything from horror films or thriller suspense films, you don't run into the attic and you don't run into the basement,
because
it was a dark
way out.
It was and it was dark. It wasn't like, it's not like there was like, oh, it looks so bright, like maybe that's the out. It was dark and like no light was in there. Just jump out the window. Just like
it was like wood stuff. So like, I'm sure with a good force, with that adrenaline pumping, you would have broken
even
it.
If you just break the window, it was a pretty big window, and even if you can't get out, if you just scream like, help me, help me, help me, somebody will hear you. It's a busy street,
Yeah.
Somebody would have helped you. So anyways, with all that being said, Oscar, final real score for Greta.
It's going to be a 2.5. I think our conversations about Greta makes it sound much more fun and an awesome time, but at the end of the day, as a movie itself, it has too many things that you can't help but criticize, and you can't help but really look at it and not take it serious to the point where you're just like, this is not something that I can say is done well. Mm-hmm. And not just the decision makings. A lot of it too was just the way that the story was put together. There was just a lot of things of just like, why are we making these choices? Why are, what are we trying to do with these characters? It just kind of was more of just like, if this would have happened to you, would you make these mistakes? And it was just like, no, I would not. Most likely, I would not make those common mistakes. I would say the acting was really good. I would say the acting definitely made you feel for Frances, in the sense of like, she was just kind of in that state where she's like, I wouldn't mind someone, in my life again. You know, my dad's not, you know, I'm not talking to my dad. My mom's not here. You know, someone new would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to say that she didn't care for her friend. She was just like, you know, I know you're there. I know you're always going to be there. But you know, having someone else to talk to would be nice. Greta, you know, the just the whole being crazy and just her behavior, all that, you know, it definitely gets under your skin. You definitely wish you can be there and just punch her. Like, you know, you wish you can, you know. It was like moments where it was just like, let me be in this spot, right? Let me tag team right now. Tag me in. Let me in, coach.
Right.
So it was like kind of like that, and that was a really well performance. I did like that, and you know, Erica's performance was well. It was not Erica, but the actress did a great job of being that supporting friend, and I believed it. They like at first I was just like, oh, what a cliche, like
yeah, it did.
They're just best friend girls, like, you know, they're just there to have fun.
She's all about like
with the progress of it. She was much more than that, and that was really awesome to see. So yeah, 2.5.
I agree. I'm giving it the same thing, 2.5. It was an entertaining, fun film, and the actresses both delivered really good performances. Isabelle Huppert, I can't say her last name, it's French, but she in particular, I mean, she seemed very just, I mean, like a lovely woman at first, and I think that's how it is, you know, like with people with I guess deranged people and psychotic people, like they are very charismatic and very charming at first, and then it's like you see, you know, the dark side, and her dark side was pretty dark and pretty disturbing. But yeah, 2.5 I'd give it. I don't need to repeat pretty much everything you said for the same reasons that you said. Do you want to see a Greta too?
Well, I mean, Ruben, basically the policy is you haven't seen it, so it's a 1 from you. But would you see this movie based off of what we said, how we talked about it?
Would I watch it?
Yeah.
Or are you good?
No, I wouldn't watch it. I mean, not because I'm scared of it, just because it seems kind of dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a 1. So
it's a 1 for Ruben.
It's a 1. Based on how we recapped it, the story sounds like a 1.
I just wanted to quickly say another movie that came to mind that was kind of similar like this. Remember that movie, The Gift?
Yes.
About high school friend that.
But that was well done. See, that was a little bit more of just like, you got to be careful what you do to people.
Yeah. I just kind of, I don't know. I was thinking.
I could see that.
Thinking of films that were similar, and that kind of reminded me of it.
But to answer your question, would I want a Greta too? No.
I know you would.
No, I do not want a Greta.
I mean, I don't know what that.
As of right now, I need to be away from the actress because I might think she's Greta.
She just needs to. They need to just lock Greta up. She just needs to be locked up. And hopefully now they just with all the proof and the dead bodies, they can.
I'm hoping the digital and Blu-ray release of this movie has like a extra scene that just has her in jail. That just
maybe
has
like
Greta.
An alternate ending or something. Yeah, that'd be satisfying to see. For sure. Well, listeners, definitely let us know what you guys think of Greta. If you agreed with Oscar and I and felt that the main character did not make the best decisions.
7 mistakes we recapped.
We counted 7. They might have counted less or more. Let us know. Just to remind you guys, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Team Reel-ists, Team REELISTS, no dash. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you.